Hello, my name is Keshwani. It's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 284. Please turn to page 284, problem number 106, the very last problem in the first column. Today is our lesson number 136. Let's see what we have here in problem 106. In 106 we are told that x is 1 mile ahead of y. We are simply being asked here how long before x is 2 miles ahead. Car x is right now 1 mile ahead of car y. The question simply is how many more minutes it will take, how long will it take before car x happens to be 2 miles ahead of car y. That's all. In the first statement they tell us that x goes 50 miles per hour. We are told that y goes 40 miles per hour. If y is going 40 miles an hour and x is going 50 miles an hour, their difference is 10 miles. Their difference is 10 miles per hour. In other words, in 1 hour, x will be 10 miles. Ahead of y. So wherever the x and y are at a given point, an hour from now, x will add another 10 miles to its lead. X will add another 10 miles to its lead in an hour. I should not say x will be 10 miles ahead of y because x is already 1 mile ahead. This is misleading here. X will add 10 miles to its lead. Whatever the lead happens to be. If they both start out at same starting point, then the lead is 0. Here, actually, it has a lead of 1 mile already. It is already 1 mile ahead. So, if it adds 10 miles to its lead in 1 hour, that implies, so we have here 10 mile lead in 60 minutes. We need to add 1 more mile of lead. It already has a 1 mile lead. It already has a 1 mile lead. The question is how long before it has a 2 mile lead. So we only need to add 1 more mile. We need to figure out how long it takes for him to add another mile lead to the scenario. Therefore, if it takes 10 miles in 60 minutes, therefore it will be 1 mile in 6 minutes. This is a very simple, straightforward question. That's it. How long will it take him? How long will it take him to be 2 miles ahead of y? The answer is 6 minutes. Because every hour it adds 10 miles to its lead because the difference in the speed is 10 miles per hour. That's all. The first statement is enough. A, D, B, C, E. Since the first statement by itself is enough, the answer cannot be B, C, or E. It will have to be either A or D. Let's look at second statement. In the second statement they tell us that 3 minutes ago, x was only half a mile ahead of y. 3 minutes ago it was only half a mile ahead of y. And now we are told originally, now x is 1 mile ahead. Well, if 3 minutes he was only half a mile ahead of y, and now he's 1 mile ahead of y, that put together, that implies that he must go half a mile, he must add half a mile lead in 3 minutes. Because 3 minutes ago he was only half a mile ahead, now he is a mile ahead, and that only happened in 3-minute period, which means he must have added a half a mile lead to his half a mile lead in 3 minutes time. We need to add another mile lead. We want him to be 2 miles ahead. Another mile lead will take, if half a mile is taking 1 minute, 1 mile lead will take 6 minutes. That's all it is. Second statement is also enough. Second statement is also enough by itself. The answer is D. You want to do one more? Let's do the next one. Number 107. In 107 they ask us, 107 is also a pretty straightforward arithmetic question. We have a cartoon that consists of 17,280 frames. The question simply is, how long will the cartoon last? How long will the cartoon last? How many minutes? Let's see what they tell us in the first statement. The first statement tells us that the speed of the film is 24 frames per second, not per minute. 24 frames per second. Well, that should be sufficient. If we know that it consumes 24 frames in 1 second, we have this many frames, we just divide that quantity by 24 and we'll figure out how many seconds. Once we know how many seconds, we'll figure out how many minutes. So let's do it, shall we? This is where the prickly bit comes into it. This is where the prickly bit comes into it. You must master the basic techniques, the basic way of calculating these figures without the help of a calculator. These days, I know we are all addicted to the damn thing, including I'm equally guilty. Even the simplest thing that you ask somebody, and our instinct is immediately to reach for the calculator on the desk. But unfortunately, that is not the case in the exam. We have to do it manually. Not only we have to do it manually, but we have to do it efficiently and of course correctly. You cannot take inordinate amount of time doing the long, lengthy, excruciating calculation. You have to do it in a simple thing. Let's do it together. Enough of the sermon. 17,280 divided by, we could have done it here actually. 17,280 divided by 24. Alright, let's begin the story, okay? What do we start out with? Well, as long as, and there are some basic rules of division that you have to know. A number is divisible by 2. Well, I'm not going to write everything down, it's too much, just listen to me. A number, how do you tell if a number is divisible by 2? By looking at the very last digit. If the very last digit is an even number, even digit rather, then the number itself is divisible by 2 because it's an even number. How do you know if a number is divisible by 3? A number is divisible by 3, a number, I changed my mind, I'm going to actually do it out here. A number is divisible by, a number is divisible by 2 if the last digit is even. That was fairly straightforward. A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of its digits is divisible by 3. For example here 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, 16 plus 2 is 18. Since 18 is divisible by 3, that tells us that this number is divisible by 3. We could actually divide top and bottom by 3 if we wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm going to go a little bit higher so that we have to do less work. A number is divisible by 4 if the last two digits are divisible by 4. You just have to look at only the last two digits. 936. We don't have to worry about 900. We only have to worry about the fact that 36 is divisible by 4. If 36 is divisible by 4, then it doesn't matter what you have in the 100 digit, because any multiple of 100, 100 is divisible by 4, therefore 200 is divisible by 4, and so is 500, and so is 700, and so is 2500. Any multiple of 100 will be divisible by 4. The question is, what about the last two digits? Those are the only two digits we have to worry about. Just look at the last two digits, and as long as the last two digits of a number is divisible by 4, the number is divisible by 4. So that's what I'm going to do here. I see 80 here. Of course you can divide 80 by 4. So let's divide top and bottom by 4. How many 4s in 24? 24 has 6 4s, I believe. How many 4s in a 1? So this is where the prickly bit comes here. This is where we have to learn it. Slow down and learn it. Do one digit at a time. Don't waste your time doing the long division. My God, that takes forever. How many 4s in a 1? 1 has no 4s. That one goes and joins the 7, becomes 17. How many 4s in 17? 17 has 4 4s. 4 4s are 16. 4 4s are 16. The remaining one goes and joins this guy, becomes 12. How many 4s in a 12? 12 has 3 4s. How many 4s in a 8? 8 has 2 4s. And how many 4s in a 0? 0 has no 4s. Let's do one more time, top and bottom. I see 3, I see 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 6 plus 2 is 9. 9 is divisible by 3. Since 9 is divisible by 3, then therefore that tells us that 4,320 is divisible by 3. 4,320 is divisible by 3 because 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9. Since the sum of its digits is divisible by 3, the number is divisible by 3. I could have very easily divided top and bottom by 2 because they are both even numbers. The reason I'm doing it by 3 is just to get the practice. So let's divide top and bottom by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. How many 3s in a 4? 4 has 1 3. The remaining one goes and joins this guy, becomes 13. How many 3s in a 13? 13 has 4 3s. 4 3s are 12. The remaining one goes and joins this guy, becomes 12 again. How many 3s in a 12? 12 has 4 3s. How many 3s in a 0? 0 has no 3s. We're left with 14, 40 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Let's go one more round, divide top and bottom by 2. This disappears, it's just 1 here. How many 2s in a 1? 1 has no 2s. That one goes and joins this guy, becomes 14. How many 2s in a 14? 14 has 7 2s. How many 2s in a 4? It has 2 2s. 14 is gone. And how many 2s in a 0? There are no 0. There you go, 720. The answer is 720. Now the question is 720 what? You must have your unit. You must remember your unit. 720 what? 720 hippos, monkeys, bananas, apples. 720 what? 720 seconds. Because this was frames per second, and this was the number of frames, or rather this was frames per second and this was the number of frames. Here we had frames, and here we had frames per second. The frames cancel out and this second ends up on the top. Because it's 1 over second, so it's just seconds. 720 seconds. Again, question is how many minutes is that? Again, don't waste your time trying to divide by 60. Split it in a smart way. 720 can be split into 600 plus 120. How many minutes in 600 seconds? How many minutes in 600 seconds? Well, 60 seconds is 1 minute, so 600 seconds must be 10 minutes. And 120 is another 2 minutes. So it is 12 minutes. This was both seconds. The answer is, how long will the movie last? The movie will last 12 minutes. So the first statement by itself is enough. It is enough to answer the question, oh my God, I just realized that this was a hell of a waste of time. I forgot the fact that we are doing data sufficiency. My God, what the hell? In the real exam, we were not going to be foolish enough, we're not going to be stupid enough to actually waste. This was a sheer waste of time. Nobody's actually asking us to do the damn thing. We just have to realize that whatever the number is, we have a quantity on the top, we have a quantity in the bottom. Of course, it's just a matter of doing it out. And of course it can be done. What the answer is, we are not interested. We should have realized that long time ago. First statement by itself is enough. Therefore, A, D, B, C, E. Therefore, the answer cannot be B, C, or E. Answer would have to be either A or a D. But we didn't have to do all of this thing. That's okay. We did it. At least we learned something out of it. In the real exam, we will not. You understand? Let's do the second statement. Let's do second statement. In the second statement, they tell us that it takes 6 times as long to run the film as it does to rewind it. It takes 6 times as long. That's what it takes 6 times as long to run the film as it does to rewind it. And they tell us that the total takes 14 minutes in total. So that's very nice. It takes 14 minutes in total. Here's the run time, here's the rewind time, and we are told that the ratio is 1 to 6. We are told that the ratio is, or rather 6 to 1. It takes 6 times as long to run it as it does to rewind it. Well, it's 6 to 1, which is 6 plus 1 is 7. There are 7 parts, and we have a total of 14 minutes, so it must be 2 and 12. You just add up your parts. 6 plus 1 is 7. There are 7 parts and 14 minutes altogether, which means each part represents 2 minutes. That's it. How long does it take to run the movie? It takes 12 minutes, which is just as well, because that's exactly what we found through the first statement. They never contradict each other. If the first, based on the work that you did in the first statement, if you found out that it takes 14 minutes to run the movie, and the second statement tells you that it takes 12 minutes to run the movie, then something has gone drastically wrong. They never contradict each other. This is your assurance that you are on the right track. That's it. Because both of the statements by themselves are sufficient to answer the question. The question was, how long does it take to run the movie? We're able to answer that question. We didn't actually have to do it out. The question is, it can be done. Therefore, the answer is D. That's all there is. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.